man who's always on the hot guest list is Gotham Magazine Society editor R. Corey Hay. Good morning to you, Corey. Thanks for joining me so early from L.A.
You're welcome, Alex. I barely went to bed. I just practically left George Clooney and Matthew McConaughey and Keira Knightley. Boy, does Keira Knightley look hot. She is the girl to watch. Not that she's going to walk away with an Oscar for Pride and Prejudice. That's going to get Reese Witherspoon her first golden statuette tomorrow night. And
I'm curious, how does that work when you guys, these guys are both up for Oscars, and is that hard when they run into each other?
In advance of knowing, hey, you're not supposed to know that, but of course, I think everybody pretty much knows that it's pretty much in the bag for Philip Seymour Hoffman. He's an actor's actor. People are excited that he's going to win because there's absolutely no glamour here. He's really an actor's actor. The other person that I interviewed was David Strathairn at the Pacific Design Center at the Ralph Pucci party, and he told me he's made a speech, but I'm afraid he's not going to get a chance to read it.
Corey, I know that you knew Truman Capote. What do you think he would have to say about the movie and about the portrayal?
Wow. Gee, that's great. I think Truman would have loved it because, you know, Truman loved being famous. He loved being famous. He loved being a celebrity. And I bet he's up there smiling, thinking, hey, I'm Truman Capote and I'm king again in America. And it really is Truman's year again. I think he really would have liked it. I really do. And, you know, really, as a friend of Truman sitting there, it's almost like Truman came back to life. I mean, Philip Seymour Hoffman does the most incredible job. And for those of us that knew Truman, you really know how good.
It's the big question in the Christie Brinkley breakup.
What went wrong between the 52-year-old supermodel and her dashing 47-year-old architect husband? Hamptons Magazine columnist R. Corey Hay takes us inside the final scenes from a marriage.
Sadly, there have been rumors for some time now about a third-party involvement.
And wait until you hear how much money's involved.
There is as much as $50 million and perhaps more dollars at stake here. This divorce, and I predict it will be a divorce, it could get nasty. Because in the end, it's not about the money, but it's always about the money.
But in the '06, she shattered every rental record when she booked 12 weeks in a Southampton house for $635,000.
She didn't even spend all summer there. I was at her house for a 4th of July party where she told me, I'm going off on my boat to Saint-Tropez. So she spent $600,000 for 3 months, and she actually only spent about 8 weeks in the Hamptons. But hey, you can do that when you're an heiress.
Our next guest has known Martha Stewart for 20 years. Corey Hay is Society editor of Gotham and Hamptons Magazine. Corey, thank you for coming in tonight.
It's a pleasure, Greg.
Is Martha Stewart up to it?
I think that Martha Stewart answered that question for you. She said, I'm strong, I can fight, I can handle it, and I think she will. I just think there's absolutely no question that Martha Stewart is going to handle her jail time with grace, courage, and grit. People like Martha Stewart. I've seen her for the last 6-8 weeks out and about in the Hamptons, and the reality is everywhere she goes, everyone's smiling at her, they're hugging her, people are giving her the thumbs up. People like Martha Stewart, especially in the Hamptons. That's her community. She really knows people. Last Saturday night I was with her at Calvin Klein's party. Dessert came, she passed around a plate of chocolate chip cookies.
A lot of people say that this never would have happened to an ordinary person. Do the people you hang out with say that they're being victimized for their success?
I think that the word overkill comes to mind. Look, Martha made a mistake, and then she lied about it, and a judge and a jury have said, you were wrong, and you're going to go to jail, and so she's going to go. Martha made that decision on that tarmac in, what, 10, 15 seconds? Cost her $300 million, cost her 2.5 years of misery. She's going to go in and spend 5 months in prison and 5 months out. This has been a very painful process. Martha shed a lot of tears over this.
It wasn't until the teen's father confronted Cook and Brinkley at a high school graduation ceremony that Brinkley learned of her husband's alleged adultery.
He walked up and he said, if I wasn't concerned about my pension, you'd be a dead man right now. Stop dating my daughter. Christie Brinkley's heart broke in that moment. When she saw the hardcore evidence, she kicked him out and went to California. How shocking, the all-American girl double-timed, lied to, cheated on. It's shocking.